I have three strategies that I use. I use a dollar cost averaging approach in FX specifically. I also use a fundamental analysis, sentiment analysis, technical analysis approach, aka momentum. Momentum is what I talk mostly about on YouTube. To be completely fair, as a content creator, it's the most interesting to talk about. It's the most exciting. And finally, I have a short volatility options selling approach. Okay. So these are my three core strategies. If you're a Forex trader or a cryptocurrency trader, then stick around for a second. I want to show you today's video sponsor, Stynu. This super easy to use app helps traders to track their position sizing much easier right from their phone. And I'm going to show you how to use it. It's really simple. And if you're interested in it, you can check it out down below in the description. Let's try this. So let's say that I have a trading account that is a $10,000 account and I want to risk let's say 2% on a position, and my stop loss is going to be 50 pips. I can hit the right arrow here, and then I can select the currency pair that I'm trading. So let's say I'm doing Euro USD, and then I can hit calculate. And now what you can see here is that it has shown me exactly how many units I'll need to use. So that would be a 0.4 lot size for this Euro USD position. You can see the currency pair in the top right, the risk 2%, the risk amount would be $200. All of that has been calculated for me. But what I love about this app too is that you can actually see above and below the number of pips. So if I were to do 51 pips or 52 pips, you can see the lot size is adjusting accordingly. This makes it really easy to select the proper lot size so that you make sure that you're not risking too much or too little on a trade. Now, if we go into the settings of this app too, it's pretty cool. You can actually set your account base. So if you're outside of the US, if your account is in Australian dollars or pounds or euros, you can adjust it accordingly. You can also change your risk from a percentage amount to an amount by itself. So a dollar or pound amount, etc. You can change your position from units, lots, or mini lots. And if you toggle on cryptocurrencies, check this out. Let's say I have a $10,000 account and I do a 1,000 pip thing. I can actually hit this plus button. Now what you can see here is with cryptocurrency enabled, I've got all my different options for Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. If you go to the menu too, you can go to video tutorials, which will take you to some tutorials that might be helpful if you need more help with the app. So if you're looking for a super easy to use lot size calculator to have on your phone, check out Stynu using the link down below in the description. Now on to the video. Now for dollar cost averaging, we can keep this relatively simple. I have a grid system that I trade Forex on. It's a robot. It's the simplest, most boring thing ever. It basically just has a grid, which a grid is essentially this idea that, let's say that the grid is buying the dollar Swiss, and it's just going to buy in pieces the dollar Swiss. Let's say I have a long-term bullish bias on the dollar Swiss, right? If this thing goes up, it cashes in, it makes money. If this thing drops, it adds more to a position until eventually it corrects. Now, the other thing is that I trade my grid approach in the direction of positive swap. In Forex, you can collect a positive swap for holding things overnight. When you hold dollar Swiss long, you actually get paid. So this is a very, very boring approach because it's super low risk the way I do it. I have tiny lots per trade, and I'm essentially just adding and then cashing out when it goes in. And it's all automated. It's a robot that I use. If you want information on this, I don't talk about it very much because it's so boring and it's not exciting to talk about, but it's something that I run in the background and have run for a long time. If you go to a1trading.com, you can go pull up the Grandmaster EA. So this is the link. If you want to learn about that bot, there it is. It is the simplest approach. It is not a holy grail. Nothing I do is a holy grail, but this is one part of the portfolio. So my whole approach is I want to smoothen out my equity and generate positive income over time from the markets. So one approach, one of three, is a dollar cost averaging approach using Forex. Number two is my momentum trading strategy, which is what most people who watch me are familiar with on YouTube. So I'm looking at the edge finder. I'm looking at fundamental analysis, technical analysis, sentiment analysis. And this is where I allocate the majority of my capital. I'm looking for setups. I'm taking trades in the direction of what fundamentally looks strong or weak, long if it's strong, short if it's weak. And I'm looking for charts that look strong, that look like they have more potential to continue. Currently, I'm very bullish on indices. I've been riding the index move for some time. Earlier this year, I was trading gold quite a bit on the long side. So I ride momentum where I can find it, long or short, but primarily long things that go up over time. I like to be long gold. I like to be long stocks, but only when the fundamentals make sense. And this has served me well over time with the help of the Edge Finder. By the way, just a plug, we talked about it earlier. Edge Finder is currently 45% off for our Black Friday sale. If you want access to the Edge Finder, we'll drop the link here in the chat to speak directly to our support team, where you can get access to the tool that I use to find the trades that I take with my momentum trading strategy. So grab a copy of that if you are interested in building a fundamental bias on charts. It is the tool that I use every single day to scan market data, to scan sentiment data, and much, much more. Okay, so finally, my options selling strategy. Options selling is something that I do very, very often. In terms of trade volume, it's the highest volume thing that I do. So I sell puts and I sell calls. And it is really simple, but it is not always easy. The concept of selling puts and calls is kind of a fascinating one. So I sold a call this morning. I'm sorry, I sold a put this morning on Exxon. Let's do Exxon Mobil. So here's an Exxon Mobil short put that I did this morning. Exxon's a company I wouldn't mind holding in my portfolio. And what I did this morning was I sold the 114 put. I collected about $1 in premium. Now, if you don't know what that means, I didn't actually just make $1. When you do options, you do contracts, and each contract is 100 shares. So I made $1 times 100, $100. Not a huge trade or anything, but this is one of many trades that I've got currently that I'm doing in the options side. So check this out. The 114 puts that I sold, essentially, I get paid $100 to sell that put at 114. If the price goes down to 114 or below, I get assigned the shares, meaning I have to buy that 100 shares of stock from the put owner. I'm the put seller. Someone else is the put buyer. If they at any point want to sell 100 shares of Exxon, I am the buyer. I'm the designated buyer according to our contract agreement, right? That's how options work. So if the market tanks, I'm on the hook to buy 100 shares of Exxon. But I don't mind. I'll buy Exxon if it tanks. I'd like to own some in my portfolio. In the meantime, I get to put right in my pocket $100. I'm an option seller. That is my upside. I can only make $100 max. Now I can lose a lot more than that. If I get assigned the shares and the shares go down a good bit, then yes, I can lose more than that. And it is actually an oftentimes negative risk to reward trade. But the beautiful thing about it is when you're option selling, you getting paid that premium, that $100 that I'm getting paid, most of the time, I just get paid $100 and nothing happens. Meaning the stock goes up, stock goes sideways, or the stock even goes a little bit down, but doesn't close below 114, and I get to keep the premium. Most of the time, you can see I'm having a red day today. However, many of my options positions are very well in the green that I've sold puts on. I've sold puts on Amazon, sold puts on Alibaba, Microsoft, Apple, Medtronic, ExxonMobil, Pfizer, Nike, and Uber. And almost all of these positions are making me money right now. And the theory here is that option selling produces a nice smooth upside move, and then every once in a while you get smoked, and then you make some money, then you get smoked, and then you make some money. And when I say get smoked, what I mean by that is that the volatility in the market expands dramatically, and then I have to go buy a bunch of shares because everything fell apart. And that happens. That's going to happen as an option seller, especially if you're selling primarily puts. I love option selling. It is one of my favorite things in the market because it is a lower beta strategy to simply buying and holding. What do I mean by that? Well, beta is essentially risk compared to just buying and holding, right? When you sell options, you are getting paid something up front and you might have to buy the shares. But if you do buy the shares, they're at lower prices than they are today. So if I get the chance to buy Exxon at 114, I'm happy. I would happily buy Exxon shares at 114 because then I could start selling covered calls and reverse the strategy, right? The wheel strategy is a very tried and true, very simple approach in the financial markets. And it typically, by the way, does really well in sideways markets. That is why the wheel strategy for me is something that I incorporate, because if we get this environment again, right? If you get a sideways decade, if I'm selling cash secured puts and covered calls throughout that decade, I'll make money. I may lose money in other strategies and other approaches. Buy and hold might not work very well, but the option selling strategy will do well. That's the whole point of incorporating more than one strategy. I know a lot of traders love to have their one strategy and that's all they do, and I totally respect it. But for me, I'm not a one strategy kind of guy. I use 3 core strategies. Thanks for watching this video, and on the screen right now, you'll see some other options of other videos we put together that might be helpful to you in your trading career. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.